It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Overworked and underpaid, that's the product of my days. Every beat is getting slayed, fuck whoever that debate. Niggas don't know my life on the side overseas, like twice roll rhymes for these fake MCs. Got them popping in the streets, but they never gon' share my light. Nigga, I got bills to pay, y'all can't feel the weight. It's not a real debate, I been grinding, bitch, I knew to get signed, but I been giving them everything. Shit is dope with the kid, me never respected the prices. Nah, homie, don't come round here with the fuck shit. I'ma twist a cap on a nigga like mustard. All these so-called pros can't trust it. Try to look them up, but these niggas ain't done shit. Dedicate 10 years, figure make $1, that's me. I was killing shit way before IG. No TikTok, I was dope in 03. Now everybody wanna come get a piece. Drummer cannon knew that I was plotting, planning, got the flavor. Tropicana by the beach, we got cabanas, monkey business. Best believe we got banana sway. Pin game, coin, great, cold like Pave, flow like Andre, step like Unsafe.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there on this Sunday evening, okay? Now, y'all know it was just the other day that I talked about this artist by the name of Chapo that people have been speculating has been doing some writing for Drake or had been doing some writing for Drake in the past, okay? We did a little bit of a deep dive on his history in the music industry. We were able to source him all the way back to around 2009, 10, something like that, when he came into the industry with MBK Entertainment, which is the company that brought in Alicia Keys, Tyrese, her, and a bunch of other artists, right? Himself included in that. He used to go by the name Fame. He was also a part of the, I believe it was either 2011 or 2012 BET Cypher. There's photos out there of him in that cypher with Tito Lopez and a couple of other, Brianna Perry, other artists who were of that time period who didn't really break through. I don't know what the situation was with Tito Lopez, but he was actually a very dope artist. I believe he was from Mississippi, just like Crit. He was fire, but it just went in the cards for him or whatever. I think he became a ghostwriter himself, honestly. But nonetheless, he goes by Chapo now. We talked about that 5 a.m. in Toronto leak that it sounded very close to his voice on that record. We ended up playing you a record of Chapo's so y'all could hear the side-by-side comparison to what it is that we were hearing. Some people said that they believed it was OVO Hush, which OVO Hush is somebody who has been in Drake's camp for quite some time. If you go back to Take Care, if you go back to Nothing Was the Same, you'll see his name all throughout the writing credits for Anthony Powman. I've talked about OVO Hush on my channel as well. He also goes by the name Young Tony. I don't think it sounded so much like him. They have similar pitch in their voice, similar East Coast kind of accent, but I don't think it was him. Now, as it pertains to this Chapo guy, another leak is out there. This time, it's not exactly a timestamp, but it's a timestamp type record. Draft Day, Johnny Manziel. Y'all remember that record? Draft Day, Johnny Manziel. All these years later, how am I the man still? Or some whatever the fuck that was that he said. Well, we've got a video of Chapo playing himself rapping the Draft Day song. Again, I gotta be fair in my assessment. He could have easily found the Draft Day instrumental on YouTube. It's available for anybody that wants it. Could rap on it and say, yo, this is a reference track. As somebody who understands how this stuff goes, as somebody that understands how certain people may move for clout chasing and things of that nature, I understand how accessible that is and how possible that is. I can't rule it out. However, it does seem that there's a little bit more credence being pointed in the direction of this guy Chapo, okay? Because not only do I have the video of him playing a so-called reference of him rapping the Draft Day record, but I've also got something that he put out on his TikTok from 2010 when he did a song with Boy Wonder. If y'all are familiar with Drake and OVO and pretty much every Drake album and shit, every Drake mixtape, if you go back to the very beginning, Boy Wonder is a consistent producer in Drake's camp, the original Drake producer in Drake's camp from day one. And we've got songs from 2010 with Chapo and Boy Wonder. I'm going to show y'all that in a minute. I'm also going to show y'all a video of this guy Chapo saying, this is around the time, this is last year when the Mob Ties reference track leaked out. He said, you know, that's cool, but what if timestamps started leaking? How would y'all look at this guy then? How would the narrative on him be spread about Drake if, for instance, timestamps started leaking of references? And what do you know? A timestamp leaks with this guy's voice on it. Again, I don't know anything as it pertains to what happened in the studio, who wrote what. I cannot say definitively that Chapo wrote anything or has any connection to Drake specifically. I have not seen them in video and or picture. Okay? If anyone is angry for me stating that I cannot definitively say anything, you say it yourself. I will not, because I cannot definitively say anything. I was not present. I didn't put pen down on paper to do it myself. And I haven't seen any evidence of them in the same room. However, I will give him the opportunity to share his side of the story. That's all I can do. All right. So here's the video of Chapo alluding to some timestamps leaking.
I may not be able to speak, but I could put it in music. And what if all, you know that narrative Drake hands out number ones? What if, stay with me, what if all those number ones just started leaking and they were written by other artists? What if timestamps started leaking? Then what? I don't know. Y'all tell me, man. Like I said, May 30th, man. A lot of this shit will get answered May 30th. Y'all just gotta wait till May 30th. It's a couple days. It's all there. It's all there. May 30th. I promise you, you will leave May 30th with a very, very, very different perspective. And a very, very keen sense as to what the fuck has been going on all these years. Just saying.
So that was Chapo last year. He was saying May 30th we were going to get some sort of clarity about Drake. Now, I don't necessarily remember what took place on May 30th of last year as it pertained to the Kendrick and Drake ordeal. But nonetheless, in the days, months, etc. to follow, we seen that this beef continued. Drake continued to play into it in terms of the IG story, the 100 gigs, all of this stuff. Kendrick did the pop out after that, announced the pop out after that, all this stuff, right? But the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about here is him saying, what if timestamps started leaking? Next thing you know, we got a timestamp reference with this man's voice on it. Now, let's get to this draft day alleged reference track. And this time, it's with him actually playing it in the video. This isn't just a random voice, and we're trying to match it up. This is literally him playing this joint.
You know it's real when your niggas will take the fall for you. All loyal, so you keep egging me on, and we gon' have to crack your shell just to prove that just you ain't hard for you. Last night I tried out some raw oysters. Man, that boy growing up quick. That boy know he the shit. That boy singing and all his songs when he know he could spit. That boy manifested and that boy knew it was written. That boy did it on purpose. That boy know that they shitting on you when they can't get past you. You should've followed all my moves, you won't realize the after. And if I left this shit to Chance, I would've picked the name like Chance the Rapper. No offense, cause I don't know that nigga. I'm focused on making records and getting bigger. Just hits, no misses, that's for the married folks. Tell them fix up my suite, cause I'm coming home. Heard them talking crazy, I was out of town. You know they love to pop all that shit when I'm not around. But when I'm in, not a sound. That'll make me snap, jot it down. Go in the booth and lay a body down. No somebody that say we got it, wallahi.
Okay, that's the draft day alleged reference, right? Now, for those people out there that believe this is some bullshit, I mean, you're clearly entitled to feel that way. I'm not going to try to change your mind because I don't know what's real and what's not. All I can do is talk about what's circulating, right? But I'll tell you what, if he is somebody who's worked in the industry, if he's somebody who's been writing for other artists outside of Drake, if he's somebody who, I mean, it's documented who he's been signed to, who he's been around, who he continues to be around in the music industry. If he indeed is doing this just for clout, then that's going to ruin his reputation with all of these people that he's had relationships with all these years. This is an artist or a writer who's been in the industry since he was a kid, right? Now, some people may say maybe that's why he's doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? He's been in the industry since he was a kid. He never popped off to the level of degree that he was looking for. So now he's doing clout chasey shit to get people to watch his TikTok or watch his Twitter posts or whatever the case may be. And I'm sure there's some people out there that are like that. But again, if he is indeed working with other artists in any capacity, why would they trust him if he's out here doing bullshit? You know what I'm saying? Just doing fake ass shit for clicks and views. I wouldn't work with somebody like that. I know that much. I wouldn't want to be around him. You know what I'm saying? And then he finds himself in the circumference of people that generally wouldn't tolerate that from people. You know what I'm saying? Mano is known for smacking niggas. Memphis Bleak ain't somebody that's going to be around no sucker ass nigga, somebody that's unofficial, because Memphis Bleak don't rock like that. Anybody that knows about Bleak should know. You know what I'm saying? This is the same Bleak who told y'all, man, I don't even like the fact that Jay-Z said that fucking long as he alive, I'm a millionaire line, because that shit wasn't ringing true. There was a point in time Memphis Bleak said he was back selling crack after the Rockefeller breakup. So he's a get it how you live type nigga. I don't think he would get around somebody who is out here clout chasing off some ghostwriting claims. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving y'all context of what I've seen. I don't know this man, never met him, never spoke to him. Hey, it would be nice to, you know what I'm saying? But it seems, shit, he may not want to speak to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too cautious or weary or suspicious. Not to say that I don't believe anything he's saying, because again, we're about to play y'all a track from 2010 that he made with Boy Wonder, Drake's primary producer throughout the entirety of his career. Every Drake mixtape, every Drake album has multiple Boy Wonder tracks, and they came up together. So people started questioning his validity in the industry. He came and dropped this.
Say the song. Yeah. The moment that they said I was on.
Hey, yo, what up, Boy Wonder?
Sleeping on me for 2
Welcome to Brooklyn, baby.
I gotta give respect on my own.
I be the juice man. Going off the deep and they shaking. The hottest nigga in the game just met his replacement. Yeah.
The moment that they said I was on.
See what I'm talking about, though?
Sleeping on me for 2
I get the controversy start now.
I gotta give respect on my own.
Hey, y'all knew this was gonna happen too, Boy Wonder. I knew once me and you got in the room, it was gonna be crazy like this.
All right, so that is the artist now known as Chapo, formerly known as Fame, also formerly known as Live Moolah. He puts out this this track he did with Boy Wonder back in the days. Now, if you go back to this clip, he shows you it's literally coming from his email dated in 2010. Okay? And he says here, I was signed as a songwriter to Harvey Mason Jr., which I told y'all the other day. He was signed to Harvey Mason Jr. Once again, Harvey Mason Jr. is the head of the Recording Academy, which is the organization over the Grammys currently. And Harvey Mason is the newest head of all of that, right? But before all of that, he was signed to Harvey Mason Jr. from 2008 to 2013. He says, at that time, me and Boy Wonder did a project that turned into something different. Okay, so they did a whole project at the time, but unfortunately, it seems that it never came out. He says, just check the dates. This been my sound since the beginning, the chop shop. Just Google Harvey Mason Jr. and report back. That's his message, right? And again, this email is from February, what is that, the 10th of 2010? Or 19th, sorry. Had to lean in, the shit is small as fuck. And there's a couple other songs tagged here in the, uploaded here in the email. What else is in here? And at the bottom here, you can see that this email thread is with Michael Daly. And his email tag is from HarveyMasonMedia.com. So that gives even extra credence to the fact that he was working with Harvey Mason and co, because they were emailing back and forth this Boy Wonder project under the Harvey Mason umbrella. So everything that he said is pretty much checking out. I got to be honest. If there's enough honesty and if there's enough pieces that are falling together in the puzzle, I got to give somebody at least enough rope to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt that most of what they saying has to be some level of true. Now, I don't know what songs he did with Drake or for Drake, but let's just keep this in perspective. If you're working with Drake's producer on a whole project, right? This is 2010. Now, to be fair, Thank Me Later came out, what, 2009? Let me check the date on that. I think it was 2009, but I could be wrong. Damn, no, it came out later than I thought it did. That bitch came out June 15th, 2010. Okay? And if you go into the history of this record, it was recorded at various recording studios during 2009 to 2010 and was mostly produced by longtime collaborators 40 and Boy Wonder. This is from the Thank Me Later Drake Wikipedia page. Okay? So let's just put this in perspective. If you're an upcoming artist, in some kind of way, you're doing a complete project, damn near mixtape or album of your own with Boy Wonder. Boy Wonder is Drake's go-to man for beats. I mean, if you go through the Boy Wonder catalog, you got to think about, I want this shit forever, man. All that shit from back then. Fear. The song where he said he never cried when Pac died, but he probably will when Hove does. All those records from that time period. Boy Wonder. If you're in the studio creating with him and he's that close to Drake, then that exponentially increases the likelihood of him saying, yo, check out this artist that I'm working with, man. This nigga fire. You know? Or maybe even saying, yo, some of these beats that I'm working on, like who's to say Drake hears a beat and like, I want that one. And he's like, oh shit, I reserved that one for Homeboy, but shit, let me call him and make sure it's cool that we put it on your shit because this is a much bigger project. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, well, shit, who is he? Let me hear what he got. And Drake fuck around and be like, oh shit, yeah, he talented. He got some shit. You know, maybe we could start inviting him to some sessions. Maybe we could work with him. You know, maybe the thought process isn't initially, let me get him to ghostwrite for me. That may not be the first conversation. It might be, let's collab with him. Let's work with him. Let's see if we can put him under the wing. You know what I'm saying? Because there was once upon a time when Drake did actually care about putting out artists. Remember, he came into the game with Nicholas F. Unfortunately, Nicholas F. never got his shot. Not like that. right? OVO Hush was a solo artist at one point. He became a writer. So I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm just saying the likelihood of this being something close to what I'm saying is starting to make a lot more sense, especially if you can go back in time and source 2010, which is the same year that Drake's debut album comes out. He's working with Drake's primary producer. And next thing you know, we're starting to hear this nigga voice on fucking reference tracks. I don't think that's a fucking coincidence. Some people can, and you're entitled to your train of thought and how you want to think. But this is actually this shit is going way deeper than I would have imagined. And I can only imagine how much information this dude is keeping back, because he hasn't come out and outright said, I wrote for Drake. He hasn't come out and said, you know, I wrote this, and this for Drake. I don't know if he ever will. It will probably take something like extreme for him to just be like, you know what? Fuck it. There's no turning back. I would think now would be the time for him to do that, because throughout the entire battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, Chapo was pretty much Team Kendrick. He said both of them are his bros, but he was alleging that he was hearing Kendrick's diss tracks, as in Euphoria, before it even came out. When Euphoria came out, he said, yo, I heard the rest of that song, but I didn't hear the intro. They added that. This is all available on his TikTok from over a year ago. He predicted certain elements of the Euphoria record that ended up coming true. So, you know, he claims to be a part of that P that them West Side Compton niggas be wearing on that hat, them Phillies hats. He claims he's down with that set. Right? That's all I could say. I try to stay out of gang politics as much as I can. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So, again, I don't think Drake is going to let this guy back into his circle. Not at this point. Not if he's severing ties with people that pick sides. This might be your opportunity to come and talk. However you feel, Mr. Chapo, inside the industry is a place where you can come talk. You know, we don't got to make it about Drake. Just to do a little bit more history, do the knowledge on your tenure in the music industry. The invitation is open. It's up to you to take it or not. I tagged you in my first video. Here we are talking about you again. Invitation still stands. Okay? But let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Become an insider. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming, I swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden, they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be